Hello and hello. Welcome to Tottenham on Tour's semi-famous Christmas Advent calendar. And this is going to be a really nice month of joy. We're going to have loads of guests from the Spurs community all come by the Tottenham on Tour manor. And we're going to talk about the players of past, present and future. And we're going to have a good time. So this is going to be a little series where every day until the 24th of December, we will have a little video and we will talk about some great players. We'll talk about memories, good times, bad times, and it's going to be great. And usually Daigle's going to be joining me. When I mean usually, probably for all of them. But you can have guests like, we're starting with a bang. We're starting with Mr. Simeon from We Are Tottenham TV. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing okay, thank you. I'm buzzing to be on the show. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's Christmas, so which is why we get 3 members of the tribe to talk about Christmas. It's absolutely brilliant. We know nothing about Christmas, but we do know a lot about Tottenham. But I hear you, Mr. Daigle. How are you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, listen, this has been something we've been working on for a while, and I don't know if you want to say we started with a Christmas cracker in Sim, a stocking filler, I don't know which one, but we've gone big right from the start. The mothership has come and joined us. I'm in a very, very good mood and looking forward to doing this, brother.
Great stuff, great stuff. And we will talk about how we will start the show because it's number 1. We will start every show with a Christmas cracker joke. We will send all our guests to find a really bad joke. And then all of you guys in the chat will give us your favourites of the show. But let's start with our first Christmas cracker of the holiday season. We'll start with you, the guest, Mr. Daniel. How are you doing?
And Simeon, just remember, you're setting the tone. You're the first Christmas cracker joke of the Advent calendar.
All right, well, my Christmas cracker joke is, why does Romero not invite anyone over for Christmas?
I like what he's done here.
Anyone know?
No, not good.
No.
He doesn't want any more cards.
Oh, dear. You started with a bang. He set the bar.
That's a good one, actually. I'm writing that down.
He set the bar.
I'm writing that down. That's a brilliant one. For that.
There may or may not be a Daniel Levy one somewhere already recorded in this archive. But Simeon has come in with the first one and set the tone. You know what? I'm going to carry on with Simeon's with the card, and I'm going to say, what did the stamp say to the Christmas card?
Leave you out.
No, it said, stick with me, you'll go places.
Hey.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom. And you've got to save this for the Tottenham Tour people.
Yeah. How does Darth Vader like his Christmas turkey?
On the dark side.
On the dark side.
I've got it.
Nice. Well done, Brian.
Oh, mate, I think Simeon's won this one, but we'll see in the comments who has won the Christmas cracker jokes. Right, let's start, as we do with everything, at the beginning. Number 1, Tottenham goalkeepers of yesteryear and present. And there's only one place to start. Let's bring up the legend. The legend, Mr. Pat Jennings. Ben, take it away, sir.
It's going to be very difficult for me and Sims to talk about Pat Jennings.
Well,
you as well, Brian. But
Brian's 18 years old. He can still talk about Pat Jennings.
Yeah. Pat Jennings is the goalkeeper when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur. A lot of people say the goalkeeper of the 50s was better than Pat Jennings, but I can't really comment on that. Pat Jennings was the goalkeeper my uncle used to watch growing up. And the amount of stories I've been told about how good this goalkeeper was. 400 plus appearances for Tottenham, 4 trophies. But I always get told the story, whenever a corner came into the box, Pat Jennings didn't even jump, stuck his hand up, and the ball just magically appeared in his hand because that's how big his hands were. This guy he also knew what it meant to be a Tottenham player. This is one of the only Tottenham players that's gone to them lot down the road, and he's still universally loved. Like, not just loved, adored by everyone. It shows the character of the man, doesn't it, guys?
Yep, Sim, what do you know about, and obviously Grandpa probably tells you quite a bit about him.
Yeah, obviously, when most people talk about Tottenham's best ever goalkeepers, Pat Jennings' name is always brought up among those names, and he's obviously known as being one of the best, probably the best ever keeper that's ever played for Spurs. Famously scored a goal in the Community Shield as well, where he, I don't know if you've ever seen the video, he takes the ball, just kicks it from his own box, and it happens to bounce over the opposition goalkeeper. I think it was against Man United, and ends up scoring a goal. So knows how to find the back of the net as well, but obviously was known for his amazing frame, unbelievable reflex saves as well. And I've definitely seen clips of him. He seemed like an astounding goalkeeper, and obviously won lots of trophies at Tottenham, which we could do with right now for sure. Yeah. And as Ben rightly said, one of the very few players to leave Spurs for Arsenal, and yet still hold a player like everyone loves him. Arsenal love him, Spurs love him. He hasn't no one really holds that against him that he went to Arsenal. I think that just goes to show what kind of person he was and what kind of player he was, and what an amazing goalkeeper we had.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me just go on top of that. I mean, all you can say is this guy never even used to wear football gloves at the beginning. No, we're talking catching the ball and holding shots with those footballs from back then with his bare hands. We look at some of the players now that have got rockets of a shot. Without gloves, this guy was doing it. He's a giant of a man. And Joe, what? You basically both cover the football inside. You got to remember the amount of work he does for Tottenham Hotspur still. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy and Ben, you've got season ticket. He's still there on the pitch and having penalties taken out by young kids. Yeah. At the age of I think he's in his 70s, maybe early 80s.
And he was a goalkeeping coach for a while, wasn't he?
Very long. Very, very long time. He's obviously Tottenham through and through. Just had a health scare, and thank God he's through it. Yeah. And he's got a statue, but on a lighter note, he's almost scored as many goals as Richarlison. So not bad. not bad. But listen, this guy, we will actually be saying that about another goalkeeper in this list as well. But yeah, we'll move from one legend to, whoops, I brought him up again. Undoubtedly, my first goalkeeper I saw properly. Yeah. This man, who is unfortunately no longer with us, many people will say wasn't with us long enough and was just an incredible keeper.
This is a legend of the game. This isn't just a legend of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Liverpool legend. How was it? Multiple European Cups at Liverpool. Yep. Under I can't remember. I don't know if it was Shankly or whatever manager it came after Shankly. This is a legendary goalkeeper. A UEFA Cup at Tottenham, 240 appearances, even at the end of his career. Brilliant goalkeeper. I've had the pleasure of meeting Ray Clements a couple of times before he passed. He's just a nice bloke as well. Top keeper, legendary professional. Can't really say much better about him. What a keeper and legend of the game. And he's MBE as well. So he'll be very sadly missed. He's been gone a while now, but top keeper, top guy.
Sim.
Yeah, and I think a lot of his name always also comes up when a lot of people ask who their best ever Spurs 11 of all time. His name often comes up as well with a lot of fans thinking he could well be up there for Tottenham's best ever goalkeeper. Obviously, won a couple of trophies for Spurs during the 80s. I think it was actually in the 70s that he win the first UEFA Cup.
84.
It was that he won the one in 84. Yeah, and as Ben, I think Ben rightly said, he was a England goalkeeper, a Liverpool legend, and Spurs well loved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say there was the season he was part of the management team. Mm-hmm. He's been on the bench. He's been in the goal. You got to remember England as well. This keeper was like the next keeper we're going to talk about is the main keeper that I remember everything about him. But this keeper I got to see the end of. We should have got him sooner. Obviously, Liverpool wanted to keep him for as long as possible. If you ever go onto Google and just look at the saves this man made and his agility is outstanding. One of the very best at the time, and as I said, sorely missed. And it's hard when you see so many legends unfortunately passing. But as I said, the next goalkeeper for me, when you hear the word cult hero, this man is the very first man I think of. Without even, we've had come and gone. Eric, the Viking. Ben, you didn't even get to see him, did you?
No, he was the goalkeeper in the '99 Cup final.
91.
So, 91. Whoops, no. I can't remember who the goalkeeper in the 99 Cup final was. But yeah, I probably missed this. But legendary goalkeeper, got to see him in the testimonial first game at the new stadium against Inter Milan. He tried his best. He tried his best in that game, but I think it was just a bit too much for him playing against Inter Milan. But really good goalkeeper as well. Many stories about Eric the Viking. Great song as well. I always love that song. And just a really top goalkeeper for Tottenham back in the day. The last proper trophy they won as well.
Can you sing it for us, then?
Say it again.
Only if everyone sings it.
Well, Eric the Viking.
Yeah. How does it? I don't even know how it goes.
Eric the Viking.
Eric the Viking.
Eric the Viking. There you go. It's a musical. There's our first Christmas carol.
Yeah.
Sid, do you remember, or was it too young for you as
well? Well, I was born in '92. Obviously, the Cup final was in '91. I've seen it back. I've seen clips of it back, and I know he's always well thought of by the fan base. He's still very much in a lot of the fans' thoughts, even now. Even though he maybe wasn't the best goalkeeper to ever play for us, but was still a damn good goalkeeper. And obviously, it was a big part of that '91 Cup final team. And as Brian said, he just, for some reason, the fans really took to him, and they absolutely fell in love with him. And he's still very much welcome around Tottenham even now.
I love this kid. I mean, I remember when we signed him. This is when football, the first division, was only shown a Sunday game on Channel 3. That was it. And he made his debut against Nottingham Forest, and he let in a howler. And I do mean a howler. The shot came in from outside the area. He caught it, fell through his hands in the back of the net. We lost that game 2-1. But in that game, he makes another couple of fantastic saves. When I started going to Spurs, this man was number one. When I started going to Spurs, this man, and there's also, you hear about the funny stories. Everyone knows Gaz's initiation of him was when Gaza crapped in his goalkeeping gloves, and he went to put his gloves on and had Gascoigne dung, let's just say, in his gloves. He is an outstanding goalkeeper. Like you said, not the greatest we've had, but he has got cult hero status, and he's one of the goalkeepers that just got what it is to be a Spurs goalkeeper. We struggle. You see goalkeepers and players that just don't understand the club. This man did, and he's always welcome back. And we've just done a cult hero. In this list, there's a cult hero. There's probably the best I've seen in my lifetime to come. But my favourite. And when I was talking to Simeon about goalkeepers, me and him share the love for this man. For me, my favourite Spurs goalkeeper, favourite of all time, not best, favourite. I mean, Ben, now we're talking your age time. Now you can come in and go on.
Yeah, I remember when we signed Paul Robinson. I was at Shaw when which is really funny. I found out, I was told by one of the teachers, because one of the teachers was a Spurs fan as well. I was like, oh, we've signed Paul Robinson.
Don't lie, the rabbi told you.
The rabbi told me. The rabbi told me. But Paul Robinson was the goalkeeper of my childhood. Was it 2003? Paul Robinson signed, from what I remember.
2004, I think.
So he was there for the majority of my childhood years. Was a brilliant goalkeeper. Obviously had a wobble, and he lost his confidence, which is why he dropped out the team for Radic Cherney just before. But then Juanle Ramos made one of the only good decisions in his career as a Spurs manager, was putting Paul Robinson in goal for that final. And my God, does he not disappoint in that final? He was absolutely unbelievable in that final. The save from Drogba with his legs near to the end of the game. He was a top goalkeeper. top goalkeeper for us. Just a really nice guy as well. One of the things with goalkeepers, they all seem to be quite nice fellows.
They do.
I really loved Paul Robinson as the goalkeeper. He was a really, it's a stalwart in my childhood, really. There's the three people you carried on: Paul Robinson in goal, Ledley and Dorse at the back. That's what you needed. That's what you needed growing up.
What a trio. I mean, Sim, you and I share a lot of love for this man, so fire away.
Yeah, I thought, especially for like the first 3 years or so after he signed for Spurs, he was one of the best keepers in the league. He was unbelievable. I thought not only that, but he had a very special relationship with the fans. I remember one clear video. It was in our Tottenham's first European away trip, away in Slavia Prague in the Czech Republic. And before the game, the fans asking Robinson to give us a song, and he turns around, he goes, "Stand up if you hate Arsenal." And all the fans obviously went mad for it, and that really, got everyone to fall in love with him. But he was brilliant. He made some outstanding saves in his first few seasons at Tottenham. Obviously under Martin Jol, we were on the up at the time, and he was making some real big saves in big games against the likes of Arsenal and Man United and Chelsea, I remember. And obviously he became England's number one while he was at Spurs. And I remember he was actually a really good goalkeeper for England for quite a while. And it looked like England had found their goalkeeper, to be honest. But I don't know, something definitely changed after that own goal out in Croatia. Something changed in him, unfortunately. And he just wasn't quite the same after that. It was a massive shame. And then I remember the 125th anniversary, he had a bit of a mare in that game, and I think having such a howler and in such a big game probably affected him. But as Ben rightly said, he did have a bit of a comeback, played in the cup final, was one of our best players, and I think that probably was a really good send-off to what he had a really great time at Tottenham. But that was probably the peak of his career, being at Spurs and being England's number one. That was when he was at his best. But I think it was more about the guy he was and how he connected with the fans, which is why he was so loved. But as well, in his peak, he was a phenomenal goalkeeper.
I mean, what I'll add to that is obviously I started seeing him at Leeds when they were having their financial issues. Nigel Martin got injured, and they just stuck a kid in. We have all this talk at the moment about our youth team and whatever. Leeds just went, in you go, and he was breathtaking in their Champions League. Came to Spurs, and the first couple of seasons, like Simeon said, got his England call up at top. He was breathtaking. And Simeon was talking about that song also, Ledley King's Testimonial. He comes on, he's by the Park Lane. Again, Robbo, give us a song, does exactly the same thing. Simeon mentioned it. Paul Robinson even says it was his favourite time as a player at Tottenham Hotspur. He loved it. His confidence took a battering, didn't it? It took an absolute battering. And one of my biggest regrets is we didn't keep him for his whole career. We didn't have a manager that used him properly or gave him the confidence he needed. Will always be. I mean, we have a certain goalkeeper right now that could become my favourite. But Paul Robinson, my God, what a player, what a guy, and still speaks so fondly about the club. And right, we're going to complete the set. And there's only one number one that could complete this set. Let's talk about this man.
Yeah.
For me, the best goalkeeper I've seen at Tottenham. We'll get into it, but Ben, as always, you first, brother.
It's a really sad story with Hugo Lloris. He is one of the best goalkeepers we've ever seen. World Cup winner as well. But over the last 3 or 4 years, you can see that he's dropped off. And now the last season, he didn't just drop off; he fell off the cliff. But in his first few years at Tottenham under AVB and under Pochettino, he was outstanding. His speed off the line, really bringing in that sweeper keeper role as part of that back five with the best back four I think I've ever seen play for Tottenham. And he was a brilliant goalkeeper. My uncle loved him, being someone that played goalkeeper during his childhood and really enjoyed Hugo Lloris and always raved about how good he was, his reflexes, his saves. But it hasn't ended well for him. And it's a real shame that this is the only goalkeeper on this list with this many appearances that's not going to win a trophy at Tottenham. And he's probably the best, apart from maybe Pat Jennings, he could say he's one of the best of them. World Cup winner as well. How many of this list have a World Cup winners medal? And he's not won anything at his club level. He probably could have gone somewhere else and won something, but he was loyal to Tottenham. He stayed during the difficult years, which is something we've got to remember him by. Even with his spat last year of refusing to come out after the game at half-time against Newcastle, we've got to fondly remember him, because when he could have gone to a bigger club as the captain of France, he stayed at Tottenham, and he's wasted his career almost. He wasted his career at a club that didn't put good players in front of him, and it's a real shame.
Simeone.
Yeah, I've got a lot of love for Hugo Lloris. I think people forget his longevity. If you remember that game where France played Ireland when Henry with the handball, how long ago that was? Lloris was number one for France on that day.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long he's been at the top of his game. He has been, like, think about how many French goalkeepers there have been over the last 10, 15 years. And yet Lloris has been the undisputed number one up until the World Cup in December. He was the undisputed number one. Now, obviously, he's 36, 37, getting on a bit. And I don't see it as being a sad case. I think it's been a marvellous career for him. He's won a World Cup. He was starting for Tottenham for a decade, starting for France for a decade. I think when it comes to reflexes, I don't think many keepers have better reflexes than Hugo Lloris. I think absolutely marvellous reflex saves, some of the best I've ever seen. I remember that save he made in the Champions League against Leverkusen. I still, to this day, I watch it again and I don't know how we saved it. I still think it goes in every time. But yeah, I look at, then you show the replay and somehow he's kept it out. He's a fantastic goalkeeper and he was a brilliant captain as well. I think a lot of people didn't understand what he brought to in the captaincy until they saw the documentary, of the Spurs documentary, and you saw his team talks behind the scenes and how he motivates players. And he's a brilliant captain, a brilliant motivator, a brilliant speaker, and he was a brilliant character in the dressing room. And I think you don't stay at the top for France and for Tottenham if you're not a world-class goalkeeper, and he absolutely was that. It was all those things. And yeah, look, I think it happens to all players. That you always come to a point, don't you, where it's hard to take, but that's it. You know, you're not as good as where you were in your peak, and that did happen to Lloris last season. Yeah. But I think up until then, he was a phenomenal goalkeeper, and I always look back at him very, very fondly.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, when we signed him, the game of the goalkeeper, that was a sweeper keeper. And he was the best in the world at it, in my opinion, at the time when we signed him. The best sweeper keeper. And you got to remember, before Pochettino came and set that defence up, he probably made 2 or 3 World Cup. People talk about Schmeichel winning titles, Seaman. And this guy kept us in whatever we were going for, whether it be UEFA Cup, whether it be whatever, even trying to get in the top 10, whatever. This man, single-handedly, when we talk about Kane got us out of so much, this guy kept us in. This guy kept us in for so long. You talk about the Leverkusen save. The one that always springs to my mind is a game against Crystal Palace. I think it was Son's debut game, and he tips a shot onto the post. I mean, if you go on the compilation of Hugo, like you said, Simeon, his agility was incredible. And I started saying, I think his kicking got bad when Poch came in because he was getting bored. He was getting bored of having nothing to do. So he thought, how can I make a save? I'll start just kicking the ball to them. A fantastic goalkeeper, a fantastic servant. But as I said at the beginning of football, it evolved and it went from sweeper keeper to playing out from the back. Yeah. And unfortunately, he did not have that skill set. His shot stopping stayed brilliant until last season. Last season, it started coming. I remember when Simeon, Ben and I were at Man City when Kane had that great game. Yeah. He made a fault. He started making a couple of faults quite regularly. Unfortunately, but listen, this guy's given us 10 years service. Yeah. The captain, 361, and it's, I think we
more than 10, isn't it? More than 10 years?
2000 and maybe
12.
There we go.
He's still here. He's still here.
So. This guy has been here so long. It's like I talked about Paul Robinson being the goalkeeper of my childhood. I was still in high school when Paul Robinson joined. I was still going to school. Like I was in year 12 when he joined. That's how long That's how long he's been here.
That's-
It's unbelievable, really. It's like I've grown up with him. Like I've gone from being a teenager to being a man, and he's still here. It's an unbelievable service. It's all I've really known with my terrible memory.
And the thing that you'll see with this as well, obviously, this is day one. We've picked players. Listen, there's going to be some very, very great days with blockbusters. There's going to be some very, very hard numbers where we've scrapped to find people, and they're not the best. But when you look at this list and see the players that have won trophies and the players that have been in teams that should have, this man should have had a trophy. It's a crime that he hasn't. But that's day one wrapped up, Ben.
Yeah, we started with a bang, haven't we?
We have. Now, listen, we go round and ask the guests to put a plug in for their channel. Now, I'm going to ask the mothership to plug the mothership, but everyone should know where the mothership is. And if they don't, I will spend the next 20 minutes talking about the mothership. Simeon.
Go check out We Are Tottenham TV. We're on all platforms. Also just launched a Korean channel, WAT TV Korea. If any Koreans are watching, go check that out as well. So, yeah, big up Brian, big up Ben. Thanks for having me on. And we'll see you again soon.
You certainly will. And we'll be back with day 2 tomorrow.
We'll certainly be back with day 2. It's going to be laughs. It's going to be fun. So from everyone here at Tottenham on Tour, we wish you all a wonderful Christmas and festive season wherever you are. Enjoy it. Enjoy it with your families. Keep warm. It's going to be a cold winter, but hopefully some warmth will be brought from us to you for the rest of the year. And thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful season. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.